Gamers fighting off an alien invasion, running in a race with soggy Wookiees, Doc Brown, Marty McFly, and a lot of neon, and a guy on the set of a Disney film, a princess one, who completely embarrasses himself, not me, in front of Gimli the dwarf. Welcome to this episode of Chasing Geekdom. Alright, hello YouTube. Chasing Geekdom here, coming to you from obviously the happiest place on earth, Sleeping Beauty's castle, Disneyland. Fitting the castle because I'm going to be telling you a story from the world of extra work that took place on a Disney princess film. This was Princess Diaries 2, starring Anne Hathaway. Chris Pine shows up in there. This story, though, has to do with John Rhys Davies. He was also in this film. You may know him as Gimli the dwarf in the Lord of the Rings films. He was all up in Indiana Jones. You also know him from a little bit, that same character from the Indiana Jones ride, right over there in this park. If you've ever been on it, you know what I'm talking about. It was one of the most interesting ordeals that I've had in extra work, thanks to one of my fellow extras. This is the legend of Lanner Weird. I was booked as, like a featured extra. There was a wedding scene and there were about 500 extras, and then there was the wedding party. So the groomsmen, myself, Lanner Weird was one of them. And then some other guys, and then the bridesmaids. And one of the cool things about being, featured on one of the bigger sets like this is that you get to go through the makeup and wardrobe lines kind of early. They rush you through since you're going to be closer to camera so that you're ready to go. On one of these occasions, the production assistant was walking myself and Lanner and the other groomsmen to set. And this was shot in a church in Pasadena, California. And as we're walking to the church, out walks Gimli, John Rhys Davies, and then we're like, oh, cool. And Lanner, what he wanted to say, which was bad enough already, was, hey man, dwarves are the new midgets. Which is bad enough. Is somehow in reference, not even a good joke, reference to the Lord of the Rings films, but what came out was worse. What came out was, hey man, dwarves are midgets. And of course we all froze. John Rhys Davies just stops and looks at him like, what are you talking about? And then, of course, Lanner, he tries to recover and he says, oh, you did a good job or something like that. And John Rhys Davies, as classy as can be, he says to him, well, yeah, well, they always overlook the dwarf when they're handing out the awards. So that was nice of him. Everybody's a little embarrassed, but kind of getting over it. We're all on our marks, shooting the scenes, good times, but unfortunately, this is not where the legend of Lanner Weird ends. So here we are, Pasadena, California. This is actually where we shot the scenes that I've been talking about. The second half of this legend of Lanner Weird. Basically, we were all situated. It was hours in, and there was a very brief pause between takes. We're not talking about different setups where we have 10 or 15 minutes to go to the bathroom where they move the cameras or whatever. Not even between scenes where sometimes you have even longer. This was just between takes, and so the makeup artist ran out to reapply some makeup to John Rhys Davies. And Lanner decided this was the opportunity to go and ask about Indiana Jones, the next installment. He wanted to know what a lot of us wanted to know at the time. This was before Crystal Skull came out. He wanted to know when the next one's going to come out. This is not the right time to ask. So he, between takes, steps off his mark and decides that he's going to walk over to John Rhys Davies and ask him, hey man, when's the next Indiana Jones coming out?
Very dangerous.
And John Rhys Davies, as classy as possible, he recognizes him from their previous altercation, which took place right over there, actually, from where I'm standing. He turns and he looks at him. He says, I don't know these things. They don't tell the actors these things. You want to learn about film? Go ask craft service. And for those of you who don't know, craft service is like, it's a part of catering. But anyways, my friend looks at me and he says, That is the nicest F-off that I have ever heard. Which was true. He deserved a lot more. He didn't get fired somehow. I don't know how. Probably because he had been established in so many scenes. That is not the last time I ran into Lanner Weird, but that is the last time on this movie, and that's the end of this portion of the legend of Lanner Weird. So here I am, Pasadena, California, the Neon Retro Arcade. I'm here to talk about aside from this amazing place, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a second, the awesome 80s run. I ran the one in Pasadena. There is a race also in San Francisco and in San Diego. I'll post in the comments like the exact dates. I want to make sure to get that right. This here is the finisher medal. This is what you would be training for. It's worth it. And it's so much fun. They do a 5K and a 10K. It's pretty casual. You know, they'll let you do, like roller skates, people dressed up in awesome stuff. That's where I ended up getting these glasses for. And it's a blast. Obviously, it's a Back to the Future theme, so there was a lot of Doc Brown, Marty McFly's. There was a Chewbacca, which I felt bad for because it was super humid and it started raining really bad. So whoever was in that outfit, like, respect. Again, a lot of people on roller skates, a lot of neon 80s. Michael Rooker, actually, from Guardians of the Galaxy and The Walking Dead showed up. For some reason, he does the thing against Rubik's Cube. Look it up on YouTube and you'll see what I mean. And if you find him anywhere on social media or you run into him at a con, ask him, like, what is your beef with the Rubik's Cube? Why you gotta hate, like that kind of thing. Registrations is very reasonable and it's a blast. I mean, they do like a cool warm-up workout fun. It was, I think, the one that I did. I posted actually on the Instagram to a Michael Jackson song. There was a dude dressed up as Michael Jackson. And the awesome 80s run organizer is actually, you might know him as the Free Hugs guy from other races. So I was at Beta Breakers and I see Free Hugs guy at like mile 6 when you're digging deep, and there was a free dance party right there as well. So you stop, you get hugs, and you get a dance on, and you get recharged. So the guys, we got a really good vibe, sets up a lot of fun races, and I would definitely check it out. The Neon Retro Arcade here in Pasadena, California, $10 and it's free play. Everything's set up for an hour. You can just free play. I just got here. It's not like fully full, so it looks like there's gonna be a lot of games that you can get at. One of the ones that I wanna get at today is Joust, thanks to Ready Player One. But again, Neon Retro Arcade, super cool, a lot of fun. Pasadena, California, look it up. And get your 80s on. It's a lot of fun. The people are really cool, and it's a really great spot here. I'm here on a Sunday, so it's pretty relaxed. I think everybody in Pasadena, Burbank, this area is kind of recovering from their Saturday night hangovers. So if you get here at opening, you're going to have access to the games. Gamers, what if I were to tell you that all of the games that you've been playing throughout your life, from Space Invaders from back in the day, all the way until now with the Call of Duties, Metroid Prime, etc., were preparing you to be a soldier to fight against an alien invasion. Now, this isn't my contention, but it is Ernest Cline's contention in this book, Armada. This is his follow-up to the awesome Ready Player One. It is the story of Zach Lightman. He is a high school kid, and he is obsessed with a game that he plays all the time, and the game is called Armada. Armada is a game where you are fighting against an alien invasion. So Zach gets kind of dropped down this, rabbit hole of the reality of the game that he's been playing. Now, when it comes to Ernest Cline's books, I don't want to talk much more about Armada. I don't want to spoil too much. Read it. If you read Ready Player One first, which is amazing, and honestly got me back into reading again, I would say read something in between the two as a buffer, because they're a little bit similar. They're great books on their own, no doubt. I would liken it to Edgar Wright's Cornetto trilogy, if you will, starring Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, and a bunch of others. when you look at that trilogy, Shaun of the Dead, amazing, Hot Fuzz, hilarious, World's End, awesome, but the tail ends of that, Shaun of the Dead and World's End, if there wasn't a buffer in between of Hot Fuzz, they're a little bit too similar for my taste, back to back. Great movies on their own, but I would say that would be the same with Armada and Ready Player One. There's a lot of pop culture references, sci-fi references, gaming references, that kind of thing in both books. They're different books, but again, for me, a little similar. Put something in between. I would definitely recommend The Martian, and I will definitely be talking about that one at some point. So yes to Ernest Cline's Armada. Go and check it out. Buy it at a bookstore, on Audible, where it's read, I believe, by Will Wheaton himself, as Ready Player One was, and I'm told he does a great job. But definitely check it out. It is well worth the read. Gamers saving the world, right? I mean, come on. All right. Read it. That is it for this episode of Chasing Geekdom, and next time we're going to be talking about Bay to Breakers. It is an awesome race. I highly recommend it. 7.5 miles or so. It's 12K. Runs from the Bay to the Breakers, from the Bay to the beach. It's awesome. A lot of people dressed up in costumes. It's amazing. For some reason they throw tortillas around. I don't know, but it's well worth it. We're also going to be talking about the book The Martian, which is what this new Matt Damon film is based on. Highly recommend the book. Great casting, though. This Mark Watney character and Matt Damon is great. And then I'm going to be bringing yet another story from the land of extra work. This time, it is the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to me. And it involves the wonderful and beautiful Charlize Theron and explosive diarrhea. Make sure to come and follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Chasing Geekdom as well. Subscribe to this channel so you get all of the episodes. We're going to be posting full rides as well, and some other bonus videos here and there. Believe me, there are a lot of outtakes. We'll make sure to bleep out the expletives.